A lot of times we're focused on bringing new products, new features, new options, those kind of things. But this is a little bit of a different path for us. And really, the problem that we're focused on here is your time. It's about time. It's about efficiency. It's about the bottleneck in the sales process and what can we do to make things easier, more streamlined there. So, as we've gone through some research on this, interviewing many dealer reps and our sales team across the country, kind of a general snapshot, if you will, a typical sizing event, and what that looks like for you to go and size firefighters for taking a turnout gear order. So before any of this even starts, we got to make sure, do you have a sizing set? Hopefully you do, but maybe it's at the corporate office, or maybe you got to borrow one from a companion. You got to wait for that to be shipped to you. You got to set up the logistics. You got to talk to the department or whoever's in charge and make sure everybody's going to be there at a certain time and location, all this fun stuff, right? And you get all that organized, and then you got to drive. You got to get there. Once you're there, you got to get set up, and then you go through the process, that sizing process. And we see on average it takes about 10 minutes per firefighter. Once you're rolling, then you wrap it up and you drive. Maybe it's a 45-minute drive back home, but 20 firefighters. Let's just say an average, 20 firefighters, 10 minutes each the drive. And by the way, you got to come back again because there's always someone who didn't show up for whatever reason, vacation or, pulling a different shift or whatever. But you got to make another trip. So, for just a typical order, we're looking at over 6 hours of your time invested in this process. And that's kind of a typical event, right? That's the normal. Well, we know it can be much worse. And I know you guys know in many cases it is. This is just a real example we got when we were doing the voice of the customer on this. But this dealer rep had five firefighters the size. It was a 3-hour drive out to do the sizing. Got there, 3 showed up, 2 completely forgot to come, couldn't make it. So 2 separate trips to measure 5 firefighters. So we're talking about 13 hours for 5 sets of turnout gear. So we recognize it's a huge investment in your time, and hopefully, with providing some more tools, we can work on the efficiency and make that a little better. So what, if we've got this issue, we got the problem, what's the solution? And back in 2020, when COVID hit, things just locked down. You couldn't go size, you couldn't get into fire departments. And that brought the order process, brought everything to a halt, right? And people needed gear. I mean, it was a time when PPE was going rampant, but it was that was a challenge, and that's when it hit the radar for us, is what can we do? I mean, we're starting to see technology in other fields. In the retail side of things, I remember seeing an app that would do basically a body scan. They're like, oh man, that's really cool. What if we could use something along those lines and make this process more digital based? And we explored that technology. We explored multiple technologies in this space of trying to create a virtual path for sizing. So think about that video or that app-based visual scanner, using your phone to do a body mapping. That sounds great in reality, but that sounds great in theory, but in reality, you have to make sure the person is in, underwear or some kind of tight fitting clothes. So you gotta, set up a space in a department and people go in, and it's very awkward. It's very clunky, and we've had a lot of challenges getting that to work properly. And I'll tell you, after exploring several, we came across the team at Bold Metrics, and those, the technology there, the data that they were able to present, the method itself took away some of the challenges of the other technology. With Bold Metrics, it's different. There's no scanning, there's no camera needed. It's really, there's a handful of questions that are asked. Most people should know those right off the top of their head. There's no measuring tapes needed. And so we really got excited about that once we saw the results.